All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bottom Line Podcast, episode number 3. The Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Because at the core of everything that ever was, is, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line. So today's guest is somebody that I've been following for a really long time on LinkedIn, mainly because his culture, his style, the way that he presents his product, his services speaks to how I do customer services and how I pretty much represent myself. I think that there's no such thing as a second impression. It just doesn't exist. Some people don't get a do-over, and it doesn't exist. People should not get a do-over. If you can't get it right the first time around, you will be remembered for that. And my guest today is one of the people that I said, if I ever go to Georgia, I'm going to go look him up because I need a custom suit, right? But with everything going on today and my fear of getting on a flight, I said, let me get him on and we can do this podcast together and really get to know Omar, right? So here's some things that I figure that from just looking at his profile that I relate to. He's a father, he's a husband, he's a custom apparel connoisseur, okay? He's also a digital entrepreneur, a fashion style and marketing consultant, a sales executive, and the founder of Bespokuture. Now, you see why I got stuck there, Omar. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Omar Kinnebrew, right?
Thank you very much, sir, and I do appreciate the intro. I'm gonna use a lot of those attributes. I'm gonna tell you to hand those over, man. I'm gonna have to use those.
You got it. You see where I get stuck, Omar, and I think a lot of people would say business owner, but you're a lot more than that. And even in your profile on LinkedIn, it's a lot more than your business. This is a lifestyle for you, right? This is a lifestyle. This is like something that represents who you are internally, right? The first thing I kind of want to know, just from your perspective as a human being, what is it that motivated you to get into the fashion industry?
So, I mean, you're absolutely right when you mention that it's a lifestyle, because I can say that I truly live and breathe, every element of custom garments, shoes, and accessories. And the way I came about it was very much happenstance, right? So it wasn't something that I actively pursued at a younger age, anything like, a lot of these stories where there was, like a true or proper build up to get where I am today. And my background is in sales, marketing, sales management. And, honestly, John, I thought I was going to be, like a big time corporate executive because I was following in my father's footsteps, right? So ever since I was younger, now granted at the same time, I also got a great deal of my fashion sense from him. So that was always embedded in me in terms of how I presented myself aesthetically. But I was going through the realm of corporate America and trying to really climb the ladder in a way that I, at that point in time, viewed success. Right. And as I was going along, I wasn't able to make the type of strides and leaps that I wanted to. So I went back to school to get my MBA.
Right.
I went back to school, got my MBA, and from there, right, I thought I could write my own ticket. I thought I could do whatever I wanted. I could, jump to whatever corporation or stay within the current company that I was working in, and none of these things were happening. Right. So as you can imagine, it was extremely disheartening. But I started to play around with my creativity, and in 2014, I was trying to find a pocket square holder, right?
Just a device. That's very specific.
So just a device to keep your handkerchief from falling to the bottom of your pocket, right?
I just want to draw some light to this. I just want to, because I don't think a lot of people who don't wear suits, and guys who do wear suits, I mean, the pocket square is a symbol, right? Mm-hmm. And to go out and about, some people don't even open up and put a pocket square in there, right? Don't even know how to wear it. So I'm curious, I got to ask you, right? Like, so at your age and you're looking for this pocket square, why? What?
Yeah.
Why?
So purely because I had a problem. My problem was my pocket squares and my handkerchiefs, they're falling down to the bottom of my pocket.
Right.
Clearly, right, in the infinite product availability that is out there in the marketplace and online, there had to be something to solve the problem.
Right.
This was back in 2014, right? There's a ton of solutions out there today, but I couldn't really find anything that achieved my goal of just keeping this piece of cloth, this piece of silk, this piece of cotton, this piece of linen, properly seated in my breast pocket. So I began thinking around to create my own, right? So I went through several iterations of, interior materials, exterior materials. I mean, you name it, just kept kind of playing around with the, different aspects of making a device that could achieve what I was setting out to do. Nice. And again, it was just for me personally at the time, right? So I started, create. And one day my wife says, "Oh, you need to sell that." I'm like, okay. Wow. I mean, obviously, women have the best ideas, right? So I give her credit to the day.
Yeah.
And so
you married her.
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. I picked the winner, and she sets me straight every single every way. Yeah. But so back in like 2014, 2015, I took that design and began selling it online, like eBay, Etsy, Amazon Prime. Had it in some local boutiques in Atlanta. Nice. Really started like pushing forward, and I had to go teach myself how to use a sewing machine to create design, those things like that.
Really?
And put out that I created the OSK Styles brand that was selling other accessories like cufflinks, tie bars, you name it. Of course, pocket squares to go along with the holder. Even had it set up to be patented, right? Wow. So I'm selling online, going through the patenting process. After 18 months.
Wow. Okay.
I find out that, had gone through like several stages of the patent process through the USPTO, which anybody who's looking to do that, it is not easy, but it can be done. I found out that a similarly competing product
Get out.
that had a previous submission tweaked their design.
Get out.
To now mirror mine, and because they never abandoned their first submission, like back in 2012, they were able to tweak it to mirror mine. And the way the USPTO, United States Patent and Trademark Office, operates is on a first to file basis. So,
that's crazy.
So now they have a product that mirrors mine. If either one of us were to get the patent, it would be them.
Really?
If their patent was granted, then they could come back and sue me for previous revenue. So I talked to folks in the intellectual property realm, and they say you got to make a change, right?
Unbelievable.
You're aware of it. You have to cease and desist selling your current product. So I made a change. It went from being a magnetic based pocket square holder to a holder that has elastic bands, right?
Wow.
For the most part, it still held up the pocket squares, but it just wasn't the same, right?
Right.
And sales plummeted.
Get out.
And it hurt, dude.
I can imagine. I feel your pain right now just hearing you talk about it.
that was my baby at the time. Right? I had plans to get funding, put it in stores, like really blow up. So having all these conversations, and all we were waiting for was that patent.
Yeah.
So long story, very, very long story short. Had to change the design. Sales fell, but now I had some experience in
exposure
the retail side and exposure of the retail side of men's fashion. I was like, I don't want to kind of lose that rush that I've been getting with selling products. How can I keep it going? And so I had a master tailor that I partnered with overseas who was making pieces for me personally, right, just for my own wardrobe. And I reached out to him one day. I said, hey, I have a brand. I have a client base who can appreciate custom, can appreciate the finer things in life, that can appreciate, gentleman's goods in the right style. Could you craft pieces for me, for my client?
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack, right? Because to me, it sounds like you just skyrocketed into the game, right? With no experience. It sounds to me like you just had a need that you needed to fill for yourself, right? You're looking for this particular pocket square. So it's your attention to detail. You're looking for something that there was not, even if they are pocket squares, they're not to your liking. They're not specific to your taste, to your style, right?
And let me make sure that the folks and everybody understands this. Not just a pocket square holder. A pocket square holder
is even more specific.
It was a device that held the pocket square in place.
Okay, all right. So now there's so many things going on here, right? Because you're talking about somebody who was influenced by his father, right? Like the style element, right? You going back to school for your MBA. Obviously, you're not really going to, and you're not a corporate guy now. You're not working for corporate America now. You're obviously out there on your own, doing your own thing. So you sound to me like you were met with a lot of risk, a lot of challenges, right? And it doesn't sound like you stopped or you slowed down at all. It sounds like you just found a way to pivot, and you find a way for you to make some changes along the way and learn from it, right? And it didn't stop you from shutting your business down. What you said to me is sales plummeted. So there's a part where I want to know where you got from this pocket square holder, creating the pocket square holder itself, getting it out to the people who might benefit from having it, and then being able to identify that client base, right? So it's very specific. It's very niched.
Yeah.
It's really niche. I myself would never look for. I'm just like, you know what? It's a headache. I'm not going to do it. But if you had recommended it to me, I'd have been like, oh, that's fly. I want that, right?
Yeah.
So how did you identify your client base, right? And then how did you get it out to the people?
Right. So I mean, just like any marketing effort, right? You have to understand whose people are that would need it. So me already having an understanding of men's fashion, men's problems, just like this issue of not being able to hold the box square in place.
Right.
I understood that, okay, if I target gentlemen who are interested in the realm of men's fashion,
right,
who have a certain level of income. Now, this wasn't an expensive piece at all.
How much
I was selling
maybe
for like $25, right?
Okay.
Not expensive at all. But you have to understand that the average person probably wouldn't buy it. Right. The client that I'm looking for, or that I was looking for, is somebody that is wearing jackets or wearing suits on a regular basis, right? So those individuals, for the most part, are in a higher income bracket. So I have to, kind of navigate my marketing approach to the luxury buyer. Okay. And what's interesting, so this is again back in 20,
so
15.
Pre-Instagram, pre-Facebook,
No. So these were all new avenues, or avenues that were building up. And so I had to become free to navigating them. And so I worked with a friend of the family who was in PR, and she really put me on in terms of social media, right? Because I was only on LinkedIn for being in sales, right? I was only on LinkedIn to reach out to folks that I think could use the product I was selling in the corporate realm. So I wasn't on Facebook anymore. I wasn't on Instagram. I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't on all the other avenues. And so I remember having a conversation with her one day, and we're talking about ways to get it out. So the plan was we were going to go to events and get a booth and put the box square holder out there.
Direct to consumer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to have. We're going to work with influencers and get it out there, in their hands in Atlanta. We're going to get on some radio spots. We're going to do some magazine stuff. And she's like, okay, but more importantly, you got to get on social media and post 3 to 5 times.
Nice.
I was like, I don't know if I have enough content to post 3 to 5 times a week.
Okay.
No. 3 to 5 times a day. I was like, well, hold on.
Right.
Not only am I not familiar with posting on social media for business, right, and selling a product, you want me to post 3 to 5 times a day? I was like, I don't know, but I very quickly understood the power of social media and exposure and all these things like that, and just really started putting it out there, So, through luckily a lower price point in the realm of luxury. Again, I was selling these holders for $25, which isn't terribly expensive, but it helped in being able to use funds to market, right? Because if I had just jumped into custom, straight out of the gate, do you know how difficult it would be to build up
that's what I'm thinking about right now. Yeah.
And so I was doing that for about a year again until all these things kind of crashed, took place. And so what helped me make the transition, Jacques, was I had a very strong understanding just of my own experience in purchasing custom, my own research, my conversations with tailors and material suppliers. I had a strong grasp of fabric composition.
Nice.
Okay. Understanding the construction and what makes a quality garment. And then again, having built up an audience that consisted of luxury buyers right in Atlanta from the pocket square holder and even across the country.
Love it.
I had an audience already, for the most part, built.
Nice. Here, let me ask you this. Because it sounds to me like you just put on your Steve Jobs hat real quick. And then you were like, I already have the base. I just have to figure out, I have to anticipate the next need, right? So I got to get I got to anticipate the next need, and I got to start to create that the product, and I have to get it out to the people. My question to you, because it sounded like you were a little bit resistant to use social media, right? 3 to 5 ads, 3 to 5 posts a day is extremely time consuming. You probably don't have a director of marketing at the time. You're doing everything. It's a one-man shop, right? And you're fairly new to social media, right? And it sounds like you were taking a direct to consumer approach by going to events, right? How much time did going on social media free up for you so that you can put energy towards the next step, which was the fabric and identifying that need? And how did it drive up sales, or did it not drive up sales for you being on social media?
You mean for the Pocket Square holder?
For the Pocket Square holder. No, for the Pocket Square holder itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it came from, Google searches. So of course, we did a lot of search engine optimization on the website. Of course, putting out there on social media, running marketing campaigns through social media, Facebook. So a lot of that helped, but it wasn't necessarily freeing up time. It was all just like how much can I do within a day, right? Between posting and marketing on social media platforms, and then going out to events, right? So going out to the networking events, being out and about. And again, I was still working full time.
Okay.
So this was just like
a
part time. Yeah, this was a side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, there was no free time essentially because
you're on 12 hours a day.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, even more, right? Because after you're done, working your 9 to 5, then you may go to a networking event, then you may get home and start working on some of the marketing pieces for social media.
That's right.
And I actually had to stitch the Pocket Square holders because this is brand new.
Right.
I wasn't getting them manufactured yet. Yeah, and it took me some time to figure that part out. But I mean, it's just everything was a learning
process.
A learning step. Yeah, and that's what's good because again, it allowed me to understand how to capture the right suppliers, the right partners, the right manufacturers, how to properly price out items based on the market, based on demand. So a lot of this was just learning that I was able to do while still working, right? Because sometimes you don't just want to jump out there and risk a whole bunch without a proper strategic plan in place.
Amen. You said it. You're preaching. So here's a question for you. Do you think, and it doesn't sound like you did, but I think a lot of people that I speak with, when I first start out with them with coaching, and, it's weird because some people think that social media will replace their direct to consumer. Yeah, they really think it'll replace it. They're like, well, I'm on social media all day. I've got a director of marketing, and I say, okay, well, are you meeting people? Are you shaking hands? Are you going to events? Well, no, that's what I have social media for. It doesn't sound like you replaced it. It was in addition to your efforts, right?
Yeah. By no means should anybody solely rely on social media if they're looking to have a truly strong and viable business, right? It is a fantastic platform, for business, right? But you can't just rely on that. And the reason being is, just like you mentioned, people are like, hey, I'm doing great things on social media, or I'm on social media, I'm here and there, And unfortunately, because of the perception. People feel like, hey, that's all I need to do. It's all I need.
That's right.
The only way I need to market and operate, right? But think about this. Let's say if you spend 45 minutes to an hour a day posting on social media, right? And you say you're posting 2 or 3 times a day. It's a few hours, right? Then you're doing that every single day to put out content, and that's just Instagram, right? And hopefully you have it connected to where it's like
because all the algorithms are different,
all of them are different. Your audiences should, and for the most part, are different on all these different platforms, right? So you have to send out different ways. But that's just social media. That's just this finite audience that, again, due to the algorithms, it's really like skewing who is seeing it, who's receiving it. And then not only that, what's the conversion rate on that? Like I was explaining to somebody the other day, I was like, I can have a partnership with a brand ambassador that has 1 million followers. And I may get like a 0.002% conversion because of their audience, because of their engagement, like all these different factors, right? And that's just social media, or it's just Instagram. You still have to get out there and get face-to-face people, especially if you're in an industry like mine where we have very, we'll say, personal or even intimate relationships, because if you work with me, we are now like family. Like I'm your best friend.
Yeah, you know everything about them at this point. Yeah.
Exactly. Not only are you confiding in me to increase your style, your lifestyle, your confidence, your earning potential, your attractiveness, the whole nine. But we're going to be in very close spaces. I'm capturing measurements, going through design. So
right.
there's a lot that goes into that, and having that personal connection with individuals is extremely important, right?
Yeah.
But not only that, you can't forget about the other avenues as it relates to marketing, right? So you have to be out there at events. You have to potentially, pub your business in magazines or radio or TV or like whatever industry you're in. There are great marketing avenues for each individual industry. It just depends on like what works best for your audience. So, not only should you not just rely on social media, you shouldn't just focus on a few. You should try to get out there on all the platforms and avenues that are beneficial to your industry, because your audience, they may come across you in different ways. So you have to understand like what makes the most sense and what works out for you.
Yeah. That's what I think. I say that all the time to a lot of people. Make it an addition, into what you're doing, and it works for you, because it looks to me like for somebody who wasn't familiar or wasn't comfortable with getting on social media, I look at your content and I say, this guy's got it figured out. Because you got all the angles covered. I can get an idea of what the fabric senses are like. I think the last post that you put up, you were very specific about, selecting which fabric you're going to use. You zoom in on your shots and you show the quality of the fabric on the mannequins. You show pretty much the details. I love how wide your lapels are on your suits. It's hard to find that for broad-chested guys, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very, it's prominent, you know what I mean? So I can see your attention to detail. And I think that that's something that, for somebody who's telling me he wasn't familiar with posting 3 or 5 days, you've mastered social media at this point, and it's not your main go-to. The reason I was going into that question is because most of your business comes from online sales, right?
No, not really. No. So I would say majority comes from referrals.
Okay.
Majority comes from referrals, and then online, and then online.
Okay.
But then online is broken out to organic, organic through search engine optimization through the website, organic and posting through the multiple social media streams, and then paid through Google AdWords or again on social media paid.
So it's multi-layered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
okay. So that's the majority. And again, as I mentioned, I market and advertise through other avenues as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your suggestions? Should I dance in a suit? Should I dance in a suit? Should I do the electric slide in a bespoke suit? Like, look at Jadena. I don't know if you follow Jadena, but Jadena, the guy gets crazy.
But he's an artist, right? Like, if I'm dancing in a suit, people are gonna look like he looks like a jerk. Why is he dancing? It doesn't make sense. Unless I'm trying to show the comfort level or the flexibility of the fiber of a particular suit.
I won't dance in a suit, personally. I'm like, I pay too much.
You don't need to. I don't need to dance, right? But if I want to show how comfortable the garments are, or if I'm introducing a wool lycra blended, fabric, and I want to show the stretch capabilities of it, then I may have a client who can do backflips in the suit, right? Just to show that. But it has to make sense. A lot of people don't understand social media, or marketing period, where you have to, one, understand what your audience, like what they expect from your brand, and what you want them to take away from your brand. Right? Or that particular marketing campaign. So you dancing? I mean, are you dancing just to dance? Or are you just
I'm doing the two-step. I'm doing the two-step. I'm not going crazy. But Jadena, on the other hand, he's a tall guy. He's like 6'2". You seen him, right? So all his suits are pretty much bespoke, right?
Yeah. Look, he's a fly brother, and so what's awesome, right, is individuals that have that type of we'll say influence on folks. Like when Classic Man came out,
right? So he sat for a majority of that video. He sat for a majority of it. But in his other video, I want to pick your brain a little bit, and I want to say, what kind of material is that? What kind of fabric is he using to feel so comfortable? Because of the sweat composition and so on, right? Like, the guy's like, what kind of material do you suggest for actually, being loose and agile?
But to answer your question about Jadena, so it's all about like natural fibers. Now, granted, I don't know, what the exact material composition is, because you can't always tell from a distance. If I always get close, I could probably do it. But if he's having his pieces, custom crafted, they're bespoke garments, then I feel comfortable in saying that it's 100% worsted wool.
Got it.
As my first assumption, because worsted wool is the hands down, best all year, all wear fabric for suiting.
Yeah.
All right. It's a natural fiber that allows for, certain levels of comfortability just due to a natural stretch in the fiber. Okay. Right. As your body heat warms up that wool, it starts to relax a little bit more and conform to your body. Okay. For a better drape. Yeah, again, it has natural stretch capabilities. It also regulates your body temperature. That's why you can wear a 100% worsted wool suit. You can wear it all year round. Fashion and today, I'm cool with it, and I like it. Excuse me. I like it in the sense of there's so much creativity out there because, and largely in part, of the internet, and folks feeling comfortable traveling, of course, minus the pandemic and the hopes on travel in that case. But I mean, I'm okay with it. Like my niche of having like handcrafted pieces is something that isn't really too dependent upon trends or any type of quick to come and go fads. I mean, I will have clients that say like, hey, I saw this on this celebrity and it's like something funky and wild, let me craft that. Not a problem, we can do it. But a lot of stuff we craft, it's more so quality focused, a classic style that can live throughout the ages. Because if you invest in one of our bespoke pieces, I want you to have it for 5, 7, 10 plus years, as long as you're taking care of it and you're not having too many fluctuations in weight.
You're not growing too much, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my biggest problem. Yeah.
Hey, look, and being quarantined at home these days is certainly not helping,
Yeah, the midsection.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so with the state of men's fashion right now, I mean, there's always going to be a designer, a look that myself or anybody I say like, okay, absolutely not, not feeling that, or this looks atrocious. I mean, that's just how it is, right? Because no matter what the current styles or trends are, you're always going to have somebody that's going to put out something that contradicts it so that it can capture the attention of folks, right? Whether it's good or bad, folks are always trying to find ways to stand out above the crowd and have that like P.T. Barnum effect where just like something crazy will get somebody's attention. Let's see if it works.
Okay, here's one for you. 50 Cent at the Hollywood Walk of when he was getting his star. Okay. Did you see that?
Oh, I may ruin like half the questions you have. I don't watch news. I stopped watching sports. Like all I do now is like, chase after my son, read, listen to audiobooks, work with clients, work with garments, and that's it. The only time the TV's on is if I'm watching a movie or there's like some comedy show is on as background noise. But,
you're better than me, man. I got so much guilty pleasure. It's not even funny. I'm dealing with people's problems all day. But I'm like, I need to go watch some guilty TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're better than me in that aspect. But so he
did. Tell me about the look.
Yeah, he did a red turtleneck. He did a plaid suit. I want to show you the pictures. Matter of fact, if I could pull it up. And he also did a pair of sneakers. What do you advise? When is it okay to wear sneakers with the suit? Is it more formal? Is it more casual? What do you think?
Right. So as most things related to fashion, there's always going to be like, 2 avenues that you can go down. You can go down the classic avenue in terms of like what is proper and appropriate as it relates to the realm of fashion. And then you can say, hey, it's fashion or it's style. People do whatever the heck they want to do, So what's interesting is I had one of my clients post a photo of a suit that I recently crafted for him, and he was wearing sneakers with it. I was like, yo, you're rocking it out. I never would have wore sneakers with it, but hey, you do what you do. And for me, I don't wear sneakers with suits because that's just not my style. It's not my taste. But folks can do whatever they want. And now, for the most part, it's a way for people to kind of like have that like juxtaposition of, formal wear versus, more casual wear. Some individuals just may not like wearing a suit and they have to be at an event where it's a suited event or a formal event. They want to just kind of go against the grain. That's kind of how it started, right? It's not really stylish in just terms of the flow of the look.
Okay.
But folks may put it together, But I would never advise my clients to wear sneakers with a suit if we're talking about, a garment and some pairing options. But again, that's me, right?
Right.
Everybody has their own particular taste and approach to fashion.
So setting wise, what do you? So it's tricky, right? Because here you are, you go to school to become. You studied for your MBA, is that right?
Well, yeah. So yeah, my background is in business management.
Okay, so that's risky in
Undergrad.
itself. That's risky in itself, right? Because you don't know where the markets are gonna go. You don't know if you're gonna be needed or not. But you went, right? Now today you're full time, Bespokuture, right? And that's what you
Yep.
do. When did you decide? Do you remember where you were, how old you were, what happened in your life when you decided this is what you were going to do full time?
Oh, it was easy, bro. I got laid off.
You got laid off. That did it right there.
I
Yeah.
got let go of the company, and the decision was made right there.
Okay.
But no, but I will say this, right? So that aspect of it, as far as the separation, right, from it being a side hustle, from being an on-the-side business, from me having a full-time career, that separation came, very quickly. It was very easy to move forward. The build-up was what really helped in me moving forward beyond that point. And the reason I say that is because over those years, right, so that 2014, 2015, 2016, when I had been building up, first the initial accessories brand, and then when I got into custom suiting in 2016, building that up on the side allowed me to very safely, very securely, right, and methodically build up an audience and build up a side hustle so that when the opportunity came for it to be a full-time business, I was already set, right? So there was enough sustainability in my process at the time. And albeit I continue changing and updating the process, I'm still tweaking things, right?
Yeah.
But, there was enough in what I had built up that I could go full-time. And I looked at my wife, after I noticed that, hey, we don't longer need you for the most part. I did get the option to look for another position in the company. They didn't need the sales reps anymore. They were overhired. And I talked to my wife. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to stay in the corporate realm. I don't want to look for another role in another organization. I just want to put all my energy, all my time, and blood, sweat, and tears into custom clothing.
Nice.
She looked at me. She said, all right, as long as you pay the mortgage, go ahead. So,
right. You still have responsibilities, so you better go.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already know, man. Yeah.
Right,
Look, I got a mouth. Look, I have a little person to feed. I have a wife to take care of and keep happy.
It's
scary, and of course, I have to keep the lights on. Hey, it can be very scary. So after that, there was still days where, like, immediately after that move, I was like, okay, so this is solely upon my activity, right? In terms of being successful in the business. Yeah, man. And it can get scary, right? What if things don't go well? And then it all goes to crap, right? And you have to figure it out.
Yeah, you're right. So like the reason why a lot of people don't do that, they don't go full time, they don't until their passion. And I don't want to call it passion, but I'll just kind of use that loosely right now. It'll be for the same reason probably why you did. The same reason why you did is sometimes the same reason why they do not. And it's because of they have kids, they have responsibilities, they have a mortgage, they have to maintain their lifestyle, right? Me, myself, when I was I was working a 9-to-5 job before I went full-time real estate, and I was probably making like $40,000 a year. At the highest of it, I made $50,000 because I got promoted from within. I wasn't really seeing a lot of big money, but right around that time, my daughter was born. That's my second child, right?
Okay.
So when I went full-time real estate, it was the scariest thing in the world. Like I went 3 months with no check. I had to just take money out of my 403B, and my wife at the time wasn't working, stay-at-home mom. So I just kept thinking ahead, like, I know that if I get out there, if I get in front of the right people, and if I have the right conversations, and I'm not thinking so much about the money, but I'm thinking more about the relationships, then I can grow this thing, But there's a lot of risk that comes with that, What are some of the risks that you faced? Because you said you got laid off. So was there like a gap in a period of time where you went with no money, with no income, and then you just had to adjust, or was it like a smooth transition?
So it definitely wasn't a smooth transition, just because, in terms of what the business was making, what I was making, working in the corporate realm,
right?
There was definitely, a decent sized gap to make up.
Yeah,
but
that's the reality, right? I think people overlook that, and they think it's going to be easy, right?
Oh, geez, no, it's not. It's not easy. And I tell you all the time, like, look, don't just jump into it. If I hadn't built up the business on the side, if I didn't have real estate properties that were generating revenue, if I didn't have this client base, then heck, I would have found another job. Because the whole time, right, the only reason, John, that I was still working and hadn't tried to go full time
Right.
on my own, like just initially,
Mhm.
is because I kept telling myself, okay, I'm not ready. Let me wait till I get to this point and then I'll
Right.
jump.
Which is what everybody does. A lot of people
Yeah,
do that.
and you'll
Yeah.
never jump because it is scary as hell.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody to just leave the comfort of a 9 to 5 and go and make that jump, right?
Yep.
And so fortunately, as I said, I was able to, have something built up enough where I knew I could move forward. But yeah, I had to dip into savings to keep moving.
Right.
Again, luckily I had revenues coming in from rent from my properties, and we made it work. And so there was probably like 6, 7, 8 months of you have money coming in from the business, but it's not a ton. It's not really making up for what I was getting in the corporate realm.
Passive, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the energy and effort was there, and I saw how much faster I was able to build up leads and then convert them into clients. I was like, okay,
how long has it been now for you, would you say, since you made that leap?
So I got laid off in March of 2017.
Okay, so you've been doing fine. You've been doing all right. And would you say it was worth it for you to just go full in on it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and of course, hindsight is 2020. Like I should have been doing this, should have been doing that. Like, hey, you work with what you have, and then you do better, right? Or you do more, you do it faster. But I'm absolutely happy that I did not try to go back into corporate America, because I would have been in the same scenario where just trying to build up. Just trying to I'm gonna get this nest egg and then I'll make the leap. Like, no, you're not gonna do it.
Right. You never break even. You never get ahead. It just keeps going. Yeah. You're right.
Sometimes you need like a swift kick in the butt to get you out.
Right, exactly. Now, how was your wife with the transition? Did she kick you in the butt a little bit, or were you like?
Man, she is always kicking me in the butt. But I'll tell you what, she saw like how unhappy I was.
There it is.
Working there because I wasn't able to advance the way I wanted to. I wasn't able to like really utilize the skills and everything that I had built up through my MBA program, and so she knew my level of unhappiness like would not subside.
Probably.
Yeah. And so she was happy to see the relief on my face. I was like, all right, let me go do my own thing,
Nice.
And she, we trust each other, right? Like, cause she used to be a teacher for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And now she's a full-time residential real estate agent.
Oh,
and so she made a transition and a jump as well.
Yeah.
From teaching to do real estate full-time. Yeah. And so we have conversations, and we have faith in each other, and at the end of the day, no matter what, we still support each other.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's great to hear that, man. Just to hear that you and your wife support each other, and it's what's more important. I think about your 4-month-old son who's going to see that. And
not 4 months. He'll be 4 years old.
Oh, okay, 4 years old.
Yeah.
So he's already picking it up. They pick it up at a young age. They pick up what they see, the work ethic. Yeah. They pick up the conversation. They pick up the fact that you're available, the fact that you can, structure your life around family. The first thing in your headline in LinkedIn was like father. Like that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, I love being a dad.
Yeah. So for you to be able to, and that's another thing, right? It kind of segues into my next question about, work-life balance, right? How do you integrate the two, or do you integrate the two? Is there an integration, or do you keep them separate?
I mean, hey, these days, work and family are fully integrated because we've been in quarantine. My son has been out of school, and so I was laughing when you said he's picking it up. John, the only thing my son is picking up is that mommy and daddy are home even more, or he's home all together, for most of the day. And now he can look to us as like his sole source of entertainment. And so, so he sees mommy and daddy working, right? Whether we're like, if I'm working on garments in the house and steaming them and getting them ready for client fitting, or if we're doing stuff. But I mean, no matter what, let's kind of rewind it back before COVID-19 came and smacked us in the face. My wife and I had it worked out to where, we made sure that he was getting to school. So we would, take turns and dropping him off. We would take turns and picking him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always sit down, and even though we had like crazy dinner times because our schedule's all over the place, we still make sure we're eating, make sure our son's taken care of. He would be, have time to play with us and go and see family.
Right.
But because my wife and I both, work for ourselves, our schedules are crazy, but like you mentioned, we're still able to be at home, right? So we're at home on the weekends, or we can take a trip on, whatever weekend, or we can go out and my son can experience and benefit from that. And I mean, it's probably going to be a very long time before he kind of really understands how cool it is that we're around like that. And I mean, there's some give and takes, right? Like, so even though our schedules allow us to be home a lot, I mean, my wife and I are still like up working to the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
So we're like,
nonstop.
Always dead tired, throughout the day. But it's very cool on like a Monday afternoon, like sitting down and being able to see my son hanging out, eating breakfast, or my wife is teaching the lesson, or he and I go across the street and go play with monster trucks, whether he's in school or not. Or if we're taking a family trip, it doesn't have to really be based around my company's holiday schedule. You know? So things like that are I think elements that when he gets a little bit older, he might be able to appreciate it a bit more.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. It's funny because when my kids were smaller, my son, and now he's 8, and I think when he was like about 7 or 6, or 6 going on 7, he said, "Papa, why do you work so much?" Right? We're in Florida, okay?
Yeah.
We're at Disney World. I've got deals pending, and I'm on my phone, and I'm like, this is not work. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is not work. I'm on my phone. Like, 'cause I've worked. I know hard work. I've done manual labor. You know what I mean? So when I hear my son at 7 years old say, "Papa, why do you work so much?" I'm like, he has no idea what work is.
And so Landon tells like, "Mommy, Daddy, put the computer down, put the phone down." Like, we're in the house hanging out with you, playing with monster. And I got stuff coming through, but like, when we're here, we're hanging out. We're not like out. You don't see us for a week straight because we're traveling and on business. Have to do all these crazy things. So it's awesome because you get to be there. Again, the world doesn't stop, business doesn't stop, but as you can attest to, it's a very sporadic schedule base because
high demand, super high demand.
Man, and you find a way to make it work, right? So my wife and I, we rely heavily on calendars. If it's not a calendar, it doesn't exist. Because I got to schedule these things out.
You and me both. Do you struggle with how much you may be providing for your kids right now? Do you struggle with how much you're providing for maybe your son, or if you guys decide to have more children, where it may take away from the grit, maybe like the grit that will come from not having? Do you struggle with that at all?
So when you say go back to the very first question.
So here's my problem, right? This is what I struggle with, because part of my work ethic comes from not having, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
I grew up in a house where, I had mom and dad, but I had the basic 5 needs. You know what I mean? Nothing extra. Not because they couldn't afford it, but because they didn't see the reason for me to have more than I needed, right? And it kind of made me want more. It made me more ambitious. It made me want to go and get my own. So at 14, I got my working papers and I was out there working, right? Today, what I see a lot, and I kind of like, I attribute it to people who kind of want to make up for their childhood, and they want to make up, for their childhood inside of their kids, with their kids, right? So they kind of like overdo it. They give them everything and anything, right? And I'm at a point right now, and I just want your honest opinion, right? Because you're an entrepreneur, your wife's an entrepreneur. So does there come a time when you struggle with the idea with, well, maybe I'm doing a little too much, or I might be in a position where I'll be doing too much for my child. I kind of want to give them that grit. Gary Vee talks, he made a point speaking to Kevin O'Leary, where Kevin O'Leary tells a story about going to see his dad, I think it's Scandinavia or something, and he sits in the front of the plane. And he sits in, he's not doing the private jet, he's doing first class. And he puts his son back in coach, right? And he says, why do you have me sitting in coach when you're sitting in first class? He's like, because I pay for first class. I work for first class. But the fact of the matter is this kid is above all of his peers. He's going to Scandinavia. So is he really, does he really have something to struggle with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like, is that something that you struggle with at all? You think about?
So, no, it's real, and I do think about it, right? And it's not like we're like crazy wealthy, right? But we can provide and give our son or different things. And we have, like I said, just one child. Lando will be 4 in June. We probably won't have a second child because my wife is very happy with her one boy, and she's like, all right, I'm good, Right. But but Landon at times like, I need more trucks. I'm like, oh, stop, time out. You absolutely do not need more trucks. So what we're starting to establish is anytime he gets something new, he's giving toys away, right?
Okay.
So he's donating them. And so what I'm trying to also, tell my wife, because again, my wife, she grew up in trying times, or in trying areas, right, where there was some struggle, even though her mother still provided, and she had everything that again they needed, maybe not more overabundance. But my wife was like, nah, we got money, we can do this, let's give to Lana, let's do this and that. But I don't want to be a child that he doesn't understand and appreciate the things that are there, right? These tangible things, like, well, I can just get this, I can go to the store, get this. So every time I go to the store, no, you're not getting another toy. I don't care if it's 50 cents. It's the fact that
it doesn't sound like it breaks your heart to say that.
No, dog, man. I said, my wife and I, we go back and forth. Because my wife is always like, oh, it's just this, is just that. Right. Enough just, man. You can build up a whole bunch of just, and they can bring down the house,
Yep.
So I don't care if it's a 50-cent truck. No, because every time we go in the store, you're not just getting another truck, another truck, right? Now, granted, we travel, we go, whether it's stateside or internationally. That's something that I would never hold back, because there's so much cultural value and experiencing traveling wherever. But I do like that notion, of having the son sit in the back, because, hey, you haven't paid for that first class ticket. Right? You haven't earned it. My son is he's gonna grow up with chores. He's gonna earn an allowance. So that's how I was brought up. And it at a young age, it helps you understand the value of working to earn money.
Right. Exactly.
Which I think is extremely important. And so, he will be able to have certain things that others may not, but he will also be in a situation where others have way more than him. So I want him to understand, kind of the economy of those who have and those who have not, so that you're not, a jerk when you get older. Right? This is how the world is, and I want him to appreciate, what either his parents provide for him or what he's able to earn for himself.
Yep. I love what you said about him having the toys and giving toys to the kids when he has too many toys. I think that instills a really strong value of altruism and just giving back, right? And looking out for those who don't have. I think that's at the end of the day, to me, it doesn't really matter how much money people have. It's what kind of people they are and what they do, right? So for people who don't have, especially what's going on right now with COVID and all, right?
Yeah. I can't wait for him to be older so he can go on service projects like Habitat for Humanity, get out there and swing a hammer and build a house.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's great. Listen, if I can come do that with you, I'll do it with you, because I think that's what makes a man at the end of the day. Some hard manual labor. I'm old school.
Man, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's just me talking, right? Where do you see this? Okay, just before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you your take right now with COVID-19 and all the restrictions and everything that's been going on right now. Where do you see the state of your industry and the state of brick and mortars right now? How do you suggest, or what advice do you have for any up and coming entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to go full time right now into their hustle, because they can't go back to work right now? A lot of people can't go back to work, and if they do go back to work, it won't be the same, right?
So very, very true.
Yeah. So, what do you advise?
So for this industry, you've had a lot of folks that really took it hard and had a significant impact, especially if they had a large storefront that was very dependent upon foot traffic and engagement with clients, in person. If they weren't able to either find ways to adapt and transition to a virtual approach or an electronic consultation offering, those different aspects, then folks were like, hey, you have nothing to do with it. We also had to struggle with it being a luxury spend or a luxury buy, where client or individuals are like, okay, I don't know what's going on with work, I don't know what's going on with my financial situation, I don't know what's going on, economically, globally, so let me not purchase anything custom right now. So that was another impact.
Wow.
And so the cool thing is that, it brings to light whether businesses are prepared for the advancement of society in any particular industry, or if they are prepared financially, right? We saw what happened to the airlines and just how they were so debt heavy that they got annihilated. And then, I think it was I can't remember the airline they were talking about specifically, but the industry overall.
I think it was Boeing.
I think it was a Boeing. Okay, yeah, they made I remember them talking about that. But then it also shows who's able to adapt or who's just getting crushed, right? So for any business, you want to make sure that you can reach your clients
Right.
wherever and whenever possible, and make sure that you are truly catering to their needs, right? So just having a brick and mortar,
Right.
one, not only is it not necessary for a lot of industries these days,
Yep.
it's something that it can show, right? And I've even thought about like, hey, do I need to get a brick and mortar, right? Because I want to have like this prime space and things like that.
Right.
It can show very well,
Right.
but that is a significant, level, or there's a significant draw in your overhead.
The overhead,
when you have
yeah,
a storefront, right?
Yeah.
So not only is your liability, increased significantly,
Right.
you may have to worry about stocking that storefront. Now you have to have somebody to man it in terms of being open when clients are coming in. So all these different aspects.
Right.
So for me, I've stayed, I guess you say, virtual or traveling.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's one of the approaches, was to be a true luxury and service brand where we visit clients at home, work, wherever convenient, right? Because I have a lot of clients that are business owners, CEOs, presidents, you name it, and they may just be getting off a plane, and I'll meet them at their home as they're getting ready to get back on a plane and go back out, to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it just allows us to keep maneuvering and keep engaging with clients when and where we need to, so that the dollars keep flowing in.
Yeah. So this is the bottom line today with Omar Kinnebrew. Can I say your name right? Is that Kinnebrew, right?
Hey, Kinnebrew. You just put the Haitian accent on it.
Thank you. I got to work on that, right? But what I'm hearing you say more and more is, and that's the bottom line, right? Is meet your clients where they're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
In order for you to have a real relationship with them, because again, you don't position yourself as a businessman at all, Omar. I think you're really authentic, genuine. You're very relatable. You're the kind of person that I would trust to. You could tell me what I should wear in a suit and how it should fit, and I would take your word for it. I don't think I would question you because of the way you come across, right? And you're thinking about the long-term overall relationship versus doing an actual sale and just saying, here it is a suit, take my word for it. It sounds like you're very involved, and this is what's really important. I think a lot of people need to take note of, is involve the clients in the process, right? Involve the clients in the process when it comes to the fabric selection, the fit,
Absolutely.
the wear, and so on, right? And that's just on the business side of it. But then you as a person, you're looking at things from a real macro view. I think you have a real macro view. You're looking at everything from, because it sounded to me like you started out with just a pocket square holder, and then you were like, you started from the accessory, which is the end in mind. I need to have something for me, which you're looking just for yourself. But then it's like everything else around that pocket square holder. You pretty much found a way to dominate and master that need, right? And fill that need, right? So there's a lot there, man, that I learned from you over the last hour. And also, without you even knowing it, me watching you on LinkedIn, right? I learned a lot. So thanks for taking the time, Omar.
Pleasure's all mine, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Very cool conversation, man.
Yeah, I hope to have it again. We could talk a little bit about real estate, because now I know that you're a property investor. I didn't know that before.
Yeah, man. We can talk about it. Like, now, granted, that's where your expertise will come in. I know some about real estate, and I can definitely talk about it. But you can see I can talk all day about garments and the realm of bespoke students. So
yeah, we do a little tit for tat, you and I, on that.
Yes, sir. I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. All right. This was the bottom line. Jean-Jacques Denis right here with Omar Kinnebrew, Bespokuture, custom garments, shoes, and accessories. You can find them online. Where do we find you online, Omar?
So everything is Bespokuture. Easy enough. And so online, www.bespokuture.com. That's BESPOKUTURE. On social media, it's all at Bespokuture. And hey, I mean, it's real simple to find this. Reach out, hit me up. Let's get you suited something amazing so you can go out there and conquer the world.
Yeah, follow his content, man, because it's definitely more than suits. I mean, he's got an incredible eye for fashion altogether. I mean, even the way you shoot your videos, the scenery itself speaks exquisite. Like, it speaks to a different level of perception, right? So Yeah,
I
everything,
appreciate that.
everything is legit, man. Thanks for the time. This is the bottom line with Jean-Jacques Denis. Catch you guys on the next one, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line.